Hey everyone. Life's been a bit occupied, but I could take notes finally on Mike's teaching and get back to you. I hope my voice is audible. Um, and I like the way it was concise and pointed, the way Galatians showed us, Paul showed us how there are these, you know, supposed three C's to false teachings. There's the way it throws us into a fearful confusion. It's a curse, and it brings condemnation. And I was thinking about the people in my life, and the kind of false teachings in my extended family that I sort of battle and have to wrestle with in deeds and words. And one of the things that I'm concerned with someone, my mom, is the social gospel, where she believes that doing the right thing by helping the poor can bring a person closer to God. And then I keep remembering that story of the woman who broke expensive perfume to bathe Jesus' feet in, and so many exclaimed how it could have helped the poor instead. And Jesus said, "The poor will always be there. Not that I'm not trying to diminish any value that so much good has been done through Christianity for the poor around the world, and has um, but any secular philanthropy can do it, and I've seen them do much more also. I remember Judson's book where he spoke about when he was in between in furlough back at home, and a lot of churches called him to preach and talk about his mission work and the people he talked to and the work he's done, and he realized that all that is getting so much more glory that he had to he decided to just preach the gospel and nothing more, boast in the gospel and nothing more. And he just went ahead with that because that was enough. He doesn't need to show, say, prove how many converts he has, what work he has done, right? Um, so that's one. And so the other one that I think keeps coming back in people I know is a sort of abundant grace gospel where confession is sort of discouraged to the point where the beauty that comes from the light of Christ exposing sins is not seen in the light of judgment, right, good judgment, but in terms of condemnation. What I'm trying to say here is what I've seen in as we walk with the gospel, as I've seen other faithful friends walk in the gospel, their sensitivity to sin grows. And it's not bad news, it's not condemning, because then you are able to turn back to the light of Christ even more and see how much more glorious he is. Like, I don't think before joining any course on SCF, I would have thought twice about the way my eating habits were, the way my I've resigned myself to just dealing with anxiety and getting things done. Instead of which, now I know in all of that, I can see how sin bleeds in, and but in Christ, how Christ's blood bleeds in even more, and that brings so much joy and peace, right? We rather have that exposure and therefore rest in Christ than removing exposure. And so that's another false gospel I think we can easily fall. I mean, people I know have fallen prey to and continue to at times. Lenora, thank you for quoting that preacher who said, righteousness is doing what is right. I think it's the one most predominant gospel, Christian or otherwise, put in different ways, so called nice, encouraging ways. But it's not encouraging, isn't it? Because it sparks too far. I mean, if we have to work on righteousness, I have this hill that faces my house, and if you see right over there, down there, it's a temple entrance. And during the festival, people have to climb from the bottom part all the way to the top, because it adds some points of righteousness to their life. Um, there's a man who climbed up a hill in a much more grave state so that I wouldn't have to go through that, and so I am freed from climbing up hills all over again because they do it every single year and they are not even assured of any amount of rest or salvation. And Kelly, yes, it's false teaching is a lot about focusing on ourselves, and ourselves focus on ourselves just doesn't bring peace. Like I explained with the abundant grace thing, focusing on Christ brings so much more peace. And then the grace and the change, it all follows after automatically. But that's not the highlight of things. The highlight always, the spotlight always stays on Christ, and that's enough. That is more than enough. So, yeah.